Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here and welcome. My name's Leona and today we'll be doing a self-love Hatha-Flow practice together. Just really taking our time to appreciate all parts of ourselves and just honor us. And I'll have two blocks here today with me as props, and you're welcome to use them if that's a part of your practice. Otherwise, you can also use some food cans or thick books if you want to bring the ground closer to you for support, or you can just ignore them altogether. It's up to you. So let's start together with a tall, comfy seat, whether that's kneeling or sitting cross-legged. You can also sit on a block to elevate your hips if you like. Just simply cast your gaze softly downwards or close your eyes. And place one hand on your heart and the other hand on the ground next to you. And drop into your breath. And drop into your center. As I'm sitting here now, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge my presence on Musqueam, Tsleil Waututh, and Squamish lands. And wherever you are, I encourage you to honor the native land that you're on as well. Just being grateful that the land does all it can to nourish us and provide for us. Allowing yourself to sink deeper into the ground. Maybe feeling your bum get a bit heavier. Maybe your feet and ankles anchor down even more. And then return gentle awareness back to your breath. Just saying hello to it, maybe for the first time today. Noticing its quality, whether it's fast or slow, there's no judgment. Tune into the rise and fall of your belly or your chest. And now together, let's start with one sound of Om, sound of oneness. Yoga basically means union. So no better way to start the practice than with this sound. First, let's take a breath in and out just to clear our lungs. Inhale. Exhale, clear lungs. Inhale, get ready to Om. Om. Allow the vibrations to settle. And now you can keep your eyes closed or open them if you wish, and simply rest your hands on your knees. You can remove any block from under you if you're sitting on one. On your next inhale, start to lift your chest forward and upwards, and maybe lift your gaze up as well. And then exhale to round your back and draw your chest inwards. Maybe your chin goes to your chest. And again, inhale to bring the heart forward and up. We're doing seated cat-cows here. Exhale, round your back and contract. Inhale to come forward for cow. And exhale, round your back for cat. Do this a few more times. Inhale, come forward. And exhale, round. Inhale to lift. Exhale, draw back your chest. Just one more. Inhale to come forward. And then exhale to contract. And now please make your way to all fours on your hands and knees, tabletop position. I'm gonna do balancing tabletop here. So start by floating your left knee off the mat and then extend that foot all the way behind you straight. And extend your right arm in front of you as you gaze forwards. Maybe flex your floating foot here. Take an inhale. And then exhale to bring your elbow to your knee, round your back. Inhale to bring the limbs outwards. And exhale to contract and round your back. Inhale to stretch out. Exhale to come back in. One more round. Inhale, stretch outwards. Exhale, contract. Inhale, stretch out. And hold on the exhale. Pause here for one breath in and out. And then lower the limbs back to the earth. Now float your right knee off the mat and extend that leg behind you. Extend your opposite arm in front of you. Take an inhale. And exhale to contract. Inhale, come out. Exhale, round. Inhale, out. And exhale, in. One more round. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, stretch outwards. And then hold on the exhale. Pause here for one breath. And then lower the limbs back to the ground. Now make your way to stand at the top of your mat. Gonna dive into some sun salutations. So start with your feet hips width distance apart and parallel to each other, with your palms facing forward, fingers spread wide. Simply gaze forward and widen your collarbones for Tadasana mountain pose. Set an intention here to be open to receiving. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. And now inhale, raise your arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Bring your fingers to the shins or the ground. Inhale, look forward, halfway lift, flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way to stand. Bring your arms up high, palms to touch. Exhale, palms down to your heart center. Pause for one breath. And again, inhale, bring the arms up, maybe gaze upwards. Exhale, fold forward, plant your palms on the ground and step back into high plank. Take an inhale here. And then exhale to lower your whole body to the ground. Untuck your toes, inhale, lift your chest and look forward for Cobra. Tuck your toes, send your hips back into the sky, and downward facing dog, exhale. And stay here for a few breaths. Just try to make your spine as nice and long as you can, perhaps by micro-bending your knees. You can always walk your dog by paddling your feet one at a time if you like. Sending deep breaths into your lower back. On your next inhale, look forward and step to the top of your mat. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise to stand, bring your arms all the way up, palms to touch. Exhale, palms down to your midline. Again, inhale, bring the arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward, plant palms and step back into high plank. Take an inhale. Exhale, lower the body to the ground, untuck your toes. Inhale, lift your chest for Cobra. Tuck your toes, exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step to the top of your mat. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise to stand, bring your arms up high, palms to touch. Exhale, palms down to the center of your chest. And now inhale, bring the arms up again. Palms to touch, and then exhale to bend your torso all the way over to your left side. So I'm mirroring you here. And just hold here for a couple breaths in this side stretch. And breathe into that side body. And if you feel like playing, you're welcome to float your left foot off the mat for a few seconds. You can hold here for 3, 2, 1, and lower that foot. Bring the arms all the way to center. Inhale as you stretch upwards. And then exhale to bend your torso to the opposite side. Opening the sides of your heart here. If you want to play again, you can float your right foot off the mat. And once again, holding for 3, 2, 1. Lower that foot, bring the palms to center. And then bring the palms down to the center of your heart. Now take the bottoms of your palms and place them on your low back for some support as you gaze forward and take an inhale to widen your collarbones. And then exhale to bend backwards any amount, coming to Anuvithasana, standing back bend. And really just opening up your heart more and more here. For those of you who are craving a much deeper back bend, you can always slide your palms down your hamstrings. You don't have to do this, don't have to look like me or like anyone else. Really just do whatever feels best for your body. And only release your neck if it feels 100% safe. Let's take one more breath here. And then rise all the way back to neutral standing with your neck coming up last. And then come into a forward fold all the way down. Uttanasana. You can hug your chest a bit closer to your thighs if you like, or you may choose to grab opposite elbows and sway side to side if that feels good. And nod your head yes, maybe shake your head no. And now on your next inhale, rise to stand, bring your arms all the way up. Exhale to bend your knees and sit into an imaginary chair behind you. Chair pose. Let's hold here for about 3 to 4 breaths, or 3 to 5 breaths. And keep intention in your fingertips as you do this. Two more breaths, maybe sit a little lower if you can. And then straighten your knees, reach all the way up again, and take an inhale as you come onto your toes and stretch upwards. And then exhale to come back into chair pose while on these toes. A little more effort here. Maybe try to tune into expansion and contraction of your rib cage. We're holding here for 3, 2, 1. Lower the heels, straighten the knees, reach upwards again. This time step both feet close together. And again come onto your toes as you inhale to stretch up. And exhale, sit into chair pose. Tap into this natural strength within you. Know that you always have the strength no matter what challenge you're facing. Really just honoring the strength that we have in us. And now lower the heels, come back to stand, and take mountain pose. Bring the hands back down to your sides and gaze forward or close your eyes. Just a few seconds to recalibrate. Now for this next pose, you're welcome to have your feet back to hips width distance apart if you like. And inhale to bring the arms overhead. Exhale to sit into chair pose. And now float your right foot off the mat and cross that thigh over your left thigh. That foot can be either dangling or it can be on the ground next to your ankle. Or if you have very healthy knees, you can always hook that foot around your left shin. And bring your arms into a bind, so left elbow goes under your right here. And simply gaze forward for Garudasana, eagle pose. Breathe into the back of your heart. On your inhale, energetically draw all parts of you in towards your midline. On your exhale, see if you can lift your chin, chest, and elbows any higher. One more breath. And then unravel this bind, come back to mountain pose, and pause here. And again, on your next inhale, raise your arms overhead. Exhale, chair pose. Now lift your opposite foot, your left foot off the ground, and cross that thigh over your other leg. And then bring the arms into a bind. Make sure the opposite elbow now is underneath the other. Garudasana on this side. Strong rooted eagle. Again, finding a softness in that expansion and contraction of your rib cage, even though the rest of you is so strong here. 2 more breaths. And then release this bind, come back to mountain pose. Pause here to integrate. Taking many pauses throughout our day, throughout our activities can be just such good forms of self-care. And now inhale, bring the arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward, plant your palms and step back into downward facing dog. Let me adjust my mat here. On your next inhale, raise your right leg high up in the air behind you. And exhale to bend that right knee and stack your right hip on top of your left hip. Twisted 3-legged dog. Just 1 to 2 breaths in this deep hip opener. And then look forward as you step that foot in between both hands. And then inhale to float both arms overhead. Exhale to cactus the arms on either side of you. So bending the elbows. Lift your heart here, maybe gaze upwards for high crescent lunge. Soften your brow. On your inhale, see if you can energetically draw both legs in closer together. On your exhale, see if you can bend backwards any deeper. And then now interlace your fingers behind you. Maybe make pointer fingers towards the earth here. And then fold your chest all the way over your front knee. Point your fingers towards the sky. And if you like, you're always welcome to lower that back knee and untuck your back toes. But just drop your crown of your head towards the earth here. Just bow to yourself. Just holding deep appreciation for you and all that you are. And now float the hands or fingers back to the mat. Tuck your back toes and lift that back knee. And then allow your hips to sink forward slightly here or as much as you like. Take an inhale here. And then exhale to lift your hips high and all the way back as much as you can. Maybe straighten your front knee, maybe flex your front foot a little. And then inhale to come all the way back down with your hips and sink the hips forward. You're going to continue this flow. Exhale to bring the hips all the way back. Inhale, melt the hips forward. Just flossing our hips here. And then exhale to straighten that knee. One more round. Inhale, come forward. And exhale, go backwards. And now come back to that neutral lunge. And then step that right foot all the way back to downward facing dog. Perhaps you want to rock back and forth here or just stay still. Maybe one side of your body is now feeling a bit more open than the other. On your next inhale, lift your left leg all the way up in the sky. Exhale, bend that knee, stack your hips on top of each other. 1 to 2 breaths here. And look forward, step that foot in between both hands. On your inhale, raise both arms overhead. Exhale to cactus those arms. High crescent lunge. As you gaze upwards, see if you can tap into a feeling of exaltation here and such openness. And again, clasping your hands behind you. This time, have your opposite thumb on top of the other. In yoga, we always want to honor both sides and point your fingers to the ground. Fold your chest over that front knee. Drop your crown to the earth once more. Option to lower that back knee. And kind of a humble lunge shape here. I don't think there's an official term for this pose, but essentially we're just bowing to ourselves. And then bringing the fingers of the hands back to the front of the mat. Take an inhale as you sink your hips all the way forward as much as you can. And untuck the back toes here and lift that back knee. On your exhale, send the hips all the way back, high up in the air. And then inhale to melt the hips back forward. Exhale, send the hips back. And inhale to come forward. One more time, exhale, send the hips back. And inhale, bring the hips forward to neutral lunge. Now step your right foot forward to meet your left foot in Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Now start to ragdoll your way up to standing, one vertebra at a time. Really taking your time here. Neck comes up last, meeting once again in mountain pose. Take a breath. And now step your right foot all the way back at a 90-degree angle. And bend your front knee at 90 degrees as well. And extend both arms into a T-shape. Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Gaze over those front fingertips. You can relax your shoulders here. Relax your fingers. The rest of your body has all the strength it needs to uphold this pose. So see where in your body you can get rid of any unnecessary tension. Just bring a softness to those areas. Now we'll do a little mini flow. So inhale as you bring your hands all the way up overhead and straighten your front knee. And exhale to bend that knee back into warrior 2 or the T shape. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, bend that front knee. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, back to warrior 2. Place your back hand on your back thigh. Rotate your front palm all the way up to the ceiling and float it all the way up until it's maybe past your head. And then perhaps gaze upwards if it's comfortable for your neck. Exalted warrior. You can always straighten that front knee if that leg ever gets tired. Here, just find a lengthening from your hip to your armpit, all the way to your fingertips. 2 more breaths. And now cartwheel both arms all the way back down to the front of the mat. Walk first point your back toes to face the front of the mat, and then walk both hands up to the inside of your left foot. Walk your left foot to the outer left edge of this mat. And then from here, I'm trying to come into lizard pose, so you might want to shift your back foot maybe a few inches more behind you, and keep that back knee lifted. So you can either stay here, or you have the option to come onto your forearms, maybe even bring blocks under your hands. And some might even like to roll their left foot onto its outer edge in order to open up the knee even more for a much wider hip opener. We're staying here for a few breaths, enjoying this opening in the hips. And remember to soften your brow and your jaw. Okay, if you're on your forearms, now please come back up to your palms, remove any props, and then step your left foot all the way back to downward dog. Again, option to stay here in stillness or rock back and forth. And now look forward and step your right foot in between both hands. Pivot your left foot so the toes are facing the left long edge of your mat, and then cartwheel your hands all the way up and come back into that T-shaped warrior two, bending your front knee and gazing over the front fingertips. Again, relax the shoulders and the fingers. Just seeing where in your being you can bring in some gentleness for yourself. Now again, coming into that mini flow, inhale as you straighten your front knee and bring your hands up overhead, maybe gaze upwards. And then exhale to bend that front knee, come back to Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, reach upwards. And exhale to bend that knee. One more time, inhale, reach upwards. Exhale, warrior two. Place your left palm on the back of your left thigh, rotate your right palm up to the sky and bring that all the way up and past your head. Gaze upwards here, exalted warrior. Back bends are such a good time to affirm, I have everything I need within me. Now again, cartwheel both hands all the way to the front of your mat, and then walk both hands onto the inside of your right foot this time, and walk the right foot to the outer edge of your mat. Adjust your back foot, maybe a few inches more behind you, and make your way to lizard pose here however you like. And sometimes I even like to rock back and forth along this shape. Let's take just 2 more breaths here. And then after your forearms, come back to your palms, and then bring your right knee back to your left knee so that both legs meet in tabletop position. Hands and knees once more. And then from here, slide your right knee forward till it meets the back of your right wrist and place that shin flat on the mat. And untuck your back toes, maybe shifting that knee a bit more behind you. We're coming into pigeon pose here. So if you want to use a blanket or a block for under your right hip to bring the earth closer to you, please feel free. And here, just make sure you square your hips forward. You can stay here on your fingertips as you lift your heart forward. Or if it's in your practice, you can come to your forearms for a bit of a forward fold. Remember, you can always use the blocks to support you even more. And for an even more restful option, you can always make a stack with your fists and rest your forehead on this stack. Just allow all the tension from your hips to melt away into the earth. And know that the earth is really good for transmuting all our stresses. And enjoying one more breath. If you're on your forearms, again, come back to your palms, and then bring that right knee back to meet again in tabletop. You can take a couple cat-cows here if you like, just to counter the effects of that pose. And if you're ready, just slide your left knee forward till it meets the back of your left wrist. Have that shin flat on the mat and adjust yourself into pigeon pose on this side. One side always tends to feel a bit different from the other, so that's so natural. And taking just one more breath here. And again, if you're on your forearms, come back to your palms. Make your way back to tabletop. And so let's come to sit on our bums now and extend our legs straight in front of us. We're going to come into a bit of a forward fold again, so you're welcome to sit on a block if you feel like that'll help you. Stretch over. And then raise your hands overhead as you make your spine nice and long all the way up to the crown of your head. And then exhale to fold over any amount at all. So your hands might be here, or they could be here, or even just over your toes. It doesn't really matter how far you're able to stretch. What matters more is the length of your spine. So just try to maintain that all the way to the crown of your head. If you like, you can tune back to expansion and contraction in your rib cage. Feeling the softness of all sides of your heart. As we're coming more and more into some passive poses here. And now come all the way back up to neutral sitting. Remove any blocks if you have one under you. And then take your right foot and step that onto the outside of your left hip. Have your left hand behind your back, and then take your right elbow to your inside of your right knee as you twist behind you for a half Lord of the Fishes. Again, finding intention in those right fingertips. On your inhale, see if you can find a gentle lengthening in your spine. And on your exhale, see if you can twist any deeper. And then now release this twist, bring both legs back to straight. And then take your opposite foot now to your other side. And do that same twist behind you. Really just enjoy this view behind you, appreciating how far you've come, and all the efforts you've put in, no matter what kind of journey you're on. Keep breathing into the back of your heart. Now release this twist once more. With both legs straight in front of you, point your toes forward and extend your arms straight in front of you as well. And then slowly lean back until you feel your core being engaged. So maybe you feel a slight shaking in your body here. Keep pointing those toes. If it's in your practice, you can lift your heels a little bit or even your legs, but we're just doing a half or mini boat pose here, not a full one. And just engaging your core here and holding for few seconds. And then slowly, gently, one vertebra at a time, lowering the rest of your body to the mat. And as you can see, I'm shaking quite a bit here. And until your head meets the earth and your hands rest down alongside your body as well, with your palms facing the ceiling. And just stay here for a few moments of constructive rest. And then now bend your knees and place the soles of your feet on the mat and prop yourselves up on your forearms, so that you're able to plant your palms on the mat next to maybe your rib cage or wherever that's comfortable, and have your fingers pointing to the front of the mat, and then lift your hips all the way up. So you're making your thighs and your torso parallel to the earth as much as possible in a reverse tabletop. I'm just holding here for a couple breaths. pushing away from the mat. One more breath. And then lower your bum and your hips back to the earth and make your way back to lying completely flat on the mat. Hug your right knee into your chest and just squeeze that in for a few moments. Maybe at the same time you can roll both ankles or even stretch or, flex or point them. When you feel ready, you can drop that right knee over to your left side on the ground. Might feel really nice to have a block here under your knee so that knee is not just dangling, you can have some support. If twisting like this is too much for you, you can always stack both knees directly on top of each other and bend both knees. And otherwise, if you're here, extend both arms out into a T shape and turn your gaze over to your right hand for supine twist. Consciously relax here. And letting yourself melt more and more into the ground. Beautiful. Now bring everything back to center and straighten your legs. And this time, hug your left knee now to your chest. Again, just squeezing it in for a few breaths as you flex and point both feet. And again, dropping that knee over to your right side on the ground. And then gazing at your left hand. Twists are so good for bringing out stagnant energy stored between your vertebrae. Taking one more breath. And then when you're ready, just bringing everything back to center once more. And that might feel nice to maybe take a happy baby, just by floating your feet wide apart in the air and maybe grabbing opposite toes and perhaps rocking side to side to give your low back a bit of a massage. Ending with as much space as possible in our hips. And now if you like, you can hug both knees in tightly to your chest, maybe your chin to your chest as well, and just give yourself a squeeze, a nice big hug, and telling yourself that you love you no matter what. Squeeze yourself as tightly as you can. And then when you're ready, simply release back into a flat back, making your way into Shavasana. Just have your ankles wider than your hips here if you like. Still having your heart so open. And now surrender your whole weight of your being to the ground. And let Mother Earth hold you with her unconditional love. And just rest here deeply for quite a while.
start to bring awareness back to your physical body. Maybe by taking a deeper breath. You can find small movement in your toes and fingers. Rolling your wrists and ankles a bit if you like. And feel free to stretch out in whatever direction you need. Eventually rolling over onto your right side in fetal position. And your right side represents your gifting and acting aspect. So this represents taking all that we've cultivated in our practice and getting ready to share that with the rest of the world. Now gently push yourself back up to that tall, comfy seated position that we started with. You can definitely keep your eyes closed still if you like. Resting your hands on your knees. And now together we'll end with one extended sound of Yam. This is the seed sound or the bija mantra for our heart chakra. It's really nice for balancing this energy center for our heart. So let's take a breath together in and out first to clear our lungs. Inhale. Exhale, clear lungs. And now inhale, get ready to chant. You can bring your prayer hands to heart center and bow your chin to your chest. Thank yourself for showing up today on your mat for you and for filling your own cup. You know that you're always so loved and cherished no matter what you do and don't do. And of course, such a big thank you from me to you for trusting me to guide you today. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are. And thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.